the first thing you're to do is to uplift the people. Uplift them. Uplift their spirits, their self-worth, their self-image. You uplift, you make them, when you do that, you make them feel welcome, wanted, needed. You make them feel special. Then you're getting their attention because they can feel your love. They can feel the love that you bring to them, and you uplift them. The next thing you do is that you encourage them. You encourage them. When you encourage people, you're strengthening the hope they have. Some people come in to see us, all they have is just a little bit of hope and nothing else. That's all they have. So we're there to strengthen the hope they come in with and to bring them new hope. That's what encouragement does. Then the fourth thing you do is you assist them. Assist them in identifying resources, identifying methods of how to work things out. But one of the things I tell them is this. I want to help them identify one thing, that all life is, every day of your life, every hour of your life, you're going to have to do this. You're going to have to learn to solve your own problems. That's all life is learning how to solve your problems. The moment we stop solving our problems is the moment we now become the problem. And now somebody's going to have to come in and help us solve the problem that we're not solving. Now, sometimes we need assistance. We need direction or guidance. That's what you're there for. But when you learn to solve your own problems, guess what? You are now becoming responsible. And people like to be around people who are responsible. And responsibility is a sign of maturity. Maturity. Then you can do this. You have loved the people. You love what you bring to them. You've uplifted them. You've encouraged them. You've assisted them. You have earned their trust and confidence. Now they'll listen to you. You know what? If we follow that method, we'll reach a lot of people. But sometimes people come into us, we start preaching to them, condemning them, whatever it may be, and we turn them off very quickly. We must love the people whom we serve. I always give the example. What if you had a dog, a loved dog that you loved, and got hit by a car? Would you even think of taking it to a veterinarian that didn't like animals? No. You take it to a veterinarian that really cared for animals, loved animals. That's who you take it to. Same here. If you're in the people business, you must truly love the people whom you serve. And I'm teaching Native American 101. So again, do not apologize for your race, for your heritage, or for the color of your skin. You had no say-so with it. I want you to learn to love the people whom you serve. Now, there's one thing that precedes that, though. Some of you that are Christians, I'm going to tell you something. I'm a Christian. In fact, I can tell you something. People don't know this. LaDonna does, though. I served a mission for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints here in Winnavegas and Mason, Nebraska back in 1966, before some of you were even born. I've been here a long time. Wonderful people. I served Macy and Watt Hill quite a bit. Love the people on there. They're always nice. Some were mean, but most of them all of them were nice. So I've been around Native people for a long time, working directly with them. Now, getting back to something about working with people, you must love them. Now, but there's two great commandments. The greatest commandment is this: love the Lord thy God with what? All the heart, mind, and soul. You all heard that. That's the first and great commandment. What's the second greatest commandment? What? Love thy neighbor as thyself. There's basically two commandments in that. Love others and learn to what? Love yourself. I've worked with so many men and women that don't even like themselves, let alone love themselves. You must learn to like yourself and learn to love yourself. You know why? Because you can't give something if you don't have it. You can't give something if you don't have it. I always do this experiment here. Does anybody have one pinon nut? I'll give them $100 if they have one pinon nut right this minute. Anybody have a pinon nut? Terry thinks he does. If you don't have something, you can't give it. If you don't like yourself, you can't give it to other people. If you don't love yourself, you can't give it. It's important to learn to like yourself and even love yourself. That's important in the recovery process, the healing process. There's two components we talked about yesterday. We are actually spiritual beings having a mortal or earthly experience. That's all we are. Now, both the body and the spirit, now I'm talking Native American. They believe every living thing has a spirit. Right, guys? Every living thing has a spirit. Both need nourishment. They both need to be fed. If you didn't have any food, water, or rest for 5 days, what would begin to happen to you? Your body would begin to break down. Your body requires nourishment. It needs food, water, and rest. And if it doesn't, it's going to have some damage to it. Now, does your spirit need nourishment? Yes, it does. It needs to be nourished. Your spirit is perfect. It won't die. But if your spirit isn't nourished, what happened to it? Your spirit gets as hard as a rock. As hard as a rock. And it can't feel very much. Even a child can go to his dad and mom and say, I love you, and just bounces right off. I go to a lot of prisons. Some guys, their spirit hasn't been nourished like this. Their mind and their heart is just like this. Now, some people yesterday they struggle with tears, their emotions. But you know what? I love when people struggle with tears and emotion and cry. Because it tells me when you have fight back tears, your spirit has been touched. And your spirit is being nurtured. It's starting to feel again. You know something? There's no healing without crying. That's true. There's no healing without crying. Because your spirit isn't being nurtured. And half of you is a spirit. So I like to see people struggle with tears. Because I know they're starting to feel again. And when a person struggles with tears, when I go to prisons, and they're all hard, I tell them, ask them a question. Can you tell me somebody that was really close to you that has passed? And they tell me right away. Then I start asking about that person. You know what? Before you know it, sometimes they have to walk out of the room because they're ready to cry. So when people cry or fight back tears, understand something. Their spirit is being nurtured. And the most spiritual people on this earth are who? Small children. Let me tell you why they're so spiritual. Have you ever seen little children can't lie? They can be tutored and coached to lie, but they can't lie. You can see it on their expression, their body movements. They're lying. But little children can't lie. It's true. Little children are quick to laugh. They're also quick to cry. Not only that, children can learn so quickly. An old guy like me, we can't learn things like, where did my phone go? Oh, I'll forget even. A little kid, give us a little kid, they'll figure how to do it in a little while. An old guy like me, we just complain. We complain about it. Because a children's spirit is soft, tender, and open. They can learn so quickly. They can learn languages very quickly. But the most important things about children is this. They can forgive so fast. They can forgive a mom and dad for all the bad they've done, just like that. You get to be my age, if somebody kicks my dog, I'll never forget that person. Forgive that person. Remember, the most spiritual people on this earth are little children. And that's why I say this. When our children are happy and are laughing, they're happy and laughing, that's the closest sound to heaven you will ever hear on this earth. And yet some parents say to their children, shut the F up. When your children are happy and are laughing, enjoy it. because that's the closest sound to heaven you will ever hear. We work with these men and women to bring them back. I work on three things. I work on someone's self-worth, someone's personal identity, and bringing purpose to their life. When you have a good self-worth and a strong identity and a purpose to your life, you will get things done so quickly. You basically have transformed yourself from the old you to a new you. You do it. Remember I said earlier, I do not have the power, the skills, the talent to change anybody. If you're going to change people, you have to give them the tools to change themselves. And I'll go over that with you in a few more minutes. But I'm going to tell you this. I want to show this video of some of the men that I've worked with. Can you hit the button now? Can you hit the lights up here?
I was sexually molested when I was younger, physically abused. I grew up. I grew up around a lot of violence and drugs and things of that nature. My mother took us to a movie theater. I think when I was maybe 10, 11-ish. Anyway, she went and she never came back. I was abandoned at a young age from time to time due to my mom's addiction, alcoholism. I don't really remember too much as a kid, as a young child. I've heard stories, about neighbors seeing me and my brothers looking in trash cans for food because we had no food. But like that was like something that my life has been built around was like fights, drugs, like the physical abuse, and it was just like something that became normal to me. And it was chaos because he was an alcoholic and he was very violent. And so that's kind of where the story started. Once I realized that my parents didn't care about me, and I'll be honest with you, all throughout my whole life, I never received no birthday presents or Christmas presents from my mom or dad. So, a lot of anger, a lot of hatred, very misunderstood. I was about 11. I was already um, I was already smoking weed. I was already smoking pretty much everything. I was doing meth by then myself. I was 14, 15 years old when I was first exposed to meth. I started drinking. I started sneaking drinks when I was about 8 years old. My life was incarceration. Um, in and out of prison, um, on the streets. It wasn't all about the meth. It was more of like what I could put inside of a needle and just put in my arm. Started shooting perks, fentanyl, heroin. We were shooting heroin. We were, I'd lost my house, my cars, everything due to drugs and what it took to get drugs. I didn't care about myself. I didn't care about anybody. I was a real selfish individual. I had a mentality that my father used to say quite a bit. It was always, I'd rather be feared than loved. I stuffed a lot of my feelings inside, and I just built up a prison inside my head. And so I learned to live in prison. So altogether, throughout my life, I've done 19 and a half years state and federal prison. My, my relationship with my daughter, I didn't have a relationship with my daughter. I lived
around my peers that didn't have a father in their life. I thought that was normal.
I'm like, I was tired of seeing my family go through what I was putting them through. I missed my kids by that time. I hadn't been around my kids for 2 years, so it was like, I gotta get to rehab. I gotta get to rehab. I gotta do this.
And I knew I had some type of purpose here, and I had to make a change. You know, I have to do something, or I'm just gonna die, or I'm gonna be out in the streets and catch a case, and I'll probably end up in prison for the rest of my life.
It's crazy. You sober up and like all these emotions start hitting you. You don't know what to do with them. You feel uncomfortable. Like it's almost like you just like kind of come to like realizing that your identity has been taken away long before you picked up. I have an ideal of like what my life is gonna look like when I get older. Like I want to have a house. I want to have a family. I want to have a beautiful wife and some kids one day.
You know, today I'm a grandfather. Have the ability to make good choices today.
NAFA popped into my head, and so whenever I left Amity, I had one goal in my head is to get back to my babies, is to be a good father again.
NAFA gave you that everything that he explains or talks about, his principles, uplifting, encouraging, assisting, and being teachable.
The only thing that I truly believe that keeps me sober is a connection with a God of my own understanding.
I believe that prayers are real and prayers are powerful, and it took a divine intervention to have that spiritual awakening. Walking into the future with the Native American Fatherhood and Family Association is just remarkable, amazing, and it's just unbelievable. You know, for someone like me to be in a position to not just, represent my mentor Al Pooley, but to help people change their lives and reintegrate back into their families. Um, for me, it's just phenomenal.
Because anybody can just be there with their kids, but to actually be a father and be a man is something totally different. So that's why I'm here at this program. And since I've been here, everybody's loving. It's like a family here. I'm not a patient here. They're actually showing me how to live. They're showing me how to be a father. They're showing me how to lead and be there for my kids.
So like NAFA like really it really like touched my heart. You know what I mean? Like NAFA has a lot of principles and like teachings that growing up I wish I would have had.
Well, I'll put it this way. I've been in and out of his life for 17 years because his grind never stopped. He never stopped believing in this program. He never stopped pushing this message.
Like, I feel like NAFA has given me like a better understanding of like where like traumatic experiences in the past don't have to like determine like the decisions that I make today.
That we are worth more than the biggest mistake we've ever made in our lives. We are precious, precious, precious.
It gives me hope.
Thank you for watching. We invite you to learn more about NAFA by visiting our website at www.nativeamericanfathers.org.
Did you like the video? Very nice. These are just four guys that I work with. They're doing very, very well. They're connected back with their families, and their children love them. I have a lot of respect for them. I'm going to give you a little demonstration of what I mean by when I work with people in their self-worth. The guy up there that was in prison for 19 and a half years, he now works with me. And when he got out of prison, he been to, I think, 6 treatment programs. And some people, I hate to say this, but get addicted to treatment. They're in and out, in and out. They do very well on in treatment. They do very well on probation. But when they get out, now they're free. They just, what do I do now? It's easy to go back what they're doing before. What happens is this. This guy came out of prison. He had no place to go. And he says, Al, what do I do? And I asked him, I said, can I ask you 2 questions? He says, yes. I said, do you like to be in charge? He said, oh, yes, I like to be in charge. Tattered all up, buffed out. I said, good, remember that. You told me you like to be in charge. Yes, I like to be in charge. Okay, number 2, are you proud you're Native American? Oh, yes, I'm really proud to be Native American. Good. Then this is what I want you to do for the next week. I want you to be kind. You be kind to everyone, all races, all genders, all ages. You be kind. That's what you do. When you're kind, I told him, you told me you like to be in charge. When you're kind, they're playing ball on your court. You're setting the rules. When you lose your temper, you're playing ball on their court. They're setting the rules. And you just told me you like to be in charge, so be kind. And you start by being kind to your family. If you're married, fathers, you be kind to your wife. Women, be kind to your husband. That's where you start. You told me you're proud to be Native American, right? Oh, yes. I said, you know what? Our Native people are a kind people. We're a generous people. We really are. In fact, I told him, I said, let me tell you a story. I was in the Cherokee Indian Reservation down in North Carolina one year, and I was waiting to see the president of the tribe. And I was looking around in his office at some of his pictures. And he had pictures of the Civil War, different things like that, and the long walk, the Trail of Tears, excuse me. And one picture is showed of this soldier, American soldier. And it said, they asked him, what's the problem, the biggest problem you see with these Indians? And his response was this: the biggest problem with these Native Indians, he called them, Native Indians, is this: they are too kind of a people. They're too kind. And I said, you know what? We are a kind people. So if you're Native, if you're proud to be Native American, young man, you be kind. And you start right today. Right now, when you leave this office, you be kind to everybody. Why? Because you're Native American. I tell my man to be kind, and I tell my woman to be kind. You know what? He came back the next week, and I said, how was it? He said, man, Al, he says, everybody liked me. It was nice. It was nice to me. See, you're setting the rule. You're developing new standards for yourself. They can't be my standards. They got to be your standards. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to ask someone to come up and volunteer. Let's see, what can I pick on? Who can I pick on? Who wants to volunteer? How about you? Come up here at the front of the desk. What's your name?
James.
James. Okay, James. Now, we'll have to admit James is a good-looking guy, right?
Thanks.
He is. Now, James, I'm going to ask you a couple of questions. What's the name of your mother?
Alyssa.
Alyssa. Is she still alive or she passed on?
She's still alive.
Wonderful, Alyssa. How long, something first of all, your mother carried you in her body. You gave your mother 9 months of discomfort. You were pushing her, you were kicking her, you were moving her. For 9 months, you caused that woman a lot of pain. Did you know that?
Yeah, I learned it later on.
Okay. You caused your mom a lot of pain and discomfort. Now, after hours, now she's giving birth. Now that's torture. I saw my wife give birth to 6 of my children. I thought to myself, women are not very smart. I've come to that conclusion. Women are not very bright. If I delivered one child, I'd say no more. That's it. Because the pain was so intense. Women keep going back for more and more and more. There's something special about women. Men wouldn't put up with it. Now, your mother put you through, and you put through mother through 9 months of pain and discomfort and hours of labor, of hard labor. Then after you were born, the work just begins. Right, women? Now the work starts. But before you were even born, your mother said this. Before she even knew you were a boy or a girl, before you had a name, you know what she said? Some nights she maybe rubbed her stomach because you woke her up. And she probably made promises to the Creator. If he's born strong, I promise this. I promise that. And one of the promises your mom probably made is this. She said that one of the wishes of your mom, she says, I want this boy to be successful. Your mother never said, I hope you become a loser. Do you think she's ever said that?
I don't think so.
No. I hope you become a quitter. Do you ever think she said that?
No.
No. You are meant to be successful. Your mother meant for you to succeed in life. Not to fail, but to succeed. But it doesn't stop there. What's your heritage?
I think my ancestry is a mix of Irish and Scottish.
Wonderful. Scottish. Let me teach you something about the Scottish people. We went to Scotland one year, and the Scottish would say to us, we're just like you American Indians. We've been fighting with the Brits all these years, they said. So I love Scottish. Okay, now, your forefathers, all the way back, suffered and sacrificed and put up with a lot for their posterity, you to be successful. Am I right?
Yeah.
You are destined to succeed in life. Now, what we're doing is we're working on their self-worth. We're giving them identity. He's meant to be successful. And your forefathers promised the Creator a lot if you were successful. And your mother did too. In other words, you need to understand something about yourself. You are a child of promise. Your forefathers and your mother and your father promised the Creator for you to be successful. Whether you're a good mom or dad, you are a child of promise. Do you believe that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it's true. Ask any loving mother. They didn't mean their kid to be a joke or a loser or a failure. They meant for their child to succeed, and they probably made promises for that to happen. So my job is to convince them that he is here on this earth to succeed in life. Because he's filling out the wishes and dreams of his dear mother and his forefathers. Because someday soon he's going to meet his forefathers. He's going to meet them. Number 2, have you ever made a mistake in your life?
Yeah.
At least one, right?
Yeah, a lot, yeah.
A lot. Just a few, okay?
Yeah.
We've all made mistakes. My job is to convince him so he understands something. He is worth more than the worst mistake he has ever made in his life, and that is the truth. He is worth more than the worst mistake he's ever made in his life, and that is the truth. Now, number 2, you can succeed in life. You'll live in progress in life, and you'll live in flourish in life if you do 3 simple things. They're difficult, but I want you to do 3 things. Number 1, he has to learn the importance of keeping his promises, keeping his word. That's real Native American, keeping your word, keeping your promises. Am I right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Today, over 50% of people that get married end up in divorce. If they simply kept their promises, divorce would drop like that. But no, they break their promises. If you keep your promises, you will be successful in many of life's endeavors. Number 2, you have to learn the importance of keeping a few rules. To be your friend, what was your name again?
James?
James. To be James' friend, I cannot lie to him. I cannot steal from him. I cannot cheat him. I can't hit him. If I break some of those rules, I will possibly lose his friendship. Am I right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I got to keep a few rules. To be this young man's friend, I got to keep rules. Simple as that. Number 3, you have to learn the importance of keeping laws. Even the universe has laws, the laws of gravity, the laws of chemistry, laws of mathematics. Now, he's going to have to learn the laws of the highway, learn the laws of society, learn the laws of life, and keep those laws. If he doesn't like some of those laws, there's a way to process to change them. But guess what? If he keeps promises, rules, and laws, he will progress, he will grow, prosper, and even flourish in life. I'm not saying he'll become a millionaire, but he'll be a happy, happy man, living a happy, full life. Promises, rules, and laws. Now, have you ever heard people do this? They pray for a miracle. Oh, I'll tell you something. Miracles do happen, but miracles don't work. They don't work. You know why? Because we forget them so soon. Just forget them like that. I always tell the story about Moses. Remember Moses' story in the Red Sea parted? And the ground was dry. And they walked through. And you know what? Here comes Pharaoh's army. And they could see the dust from the chariots and the horses. And people started to cry. What do we do? What do we do, Moses? Moses, I don't know what to do. I've never been in this situation before. I don't know what to do. So Moses did this. He walked inside, he went into the Red Sea. Now this is the Jewish version. I like this version better than Hollywood's version. But the Jewish people believe that Moses actually walked into the Red Sea and was praying, what do I do, Lord, help me? He was afraid, walking it deeper and deeper and deeper. Finally, what happened was that he got into the water started to go into his mouth. So he put his head back, put his tiptoes, keep on walking, please, please. When the water started to go into his nostrils, that's when the Lord kicked him. Boom. In other words, Moses had to do everything he could do possibly himself before the Lord kicked him.
Is it okay if I sit down? I'm starting to feel a bit light.
Is it light?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can sit down. Go ahead.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Got to give him some up medicine. Okay. Thank you. Now here comes Moses. But you know what? Here comes the army. There was a pillar from heaven, a fire that came down and separated the soldiers from the children of Israel until the children of Israel crossed the Red Sea. A pillar of fire. That freaked me out, wouldn't it you? I mean, the ocean parting, the ground is dry, and the pillar of fire. Guess what? Then when the people got across the Red Sea, the pillar of fire goes up, the army chases them. You hear the rest of the story. The water caved in and drowned all the soldiers. A few days after that happened, after all those things happened, you know what happened? People started to complain. After all those miracles happened, people started to complain. One of their complaints was this. They must have had a few Native Americans in that bunch. They started complaining. You know what one of their complaints was? They wanted meat. Now, every morning, manna also fell down from heaven. Well, what manna is, I don't know, but it was manna. But you know what? You couldn't store manna. If you have just enough for the day. If you try to hoard it, it gets spoiled and you get sick. But these res people say, I want my meat. So they go to Moses and say, hey, Moses, we want some meat. This manna ain't bad stuff, but, we want our meat. I'm a meat eater myself. I love my meat. Anyway, what happened was this. The Lord sent down as a quail or pheasant or something like that, something like that, quail. And they had all the meat they could eat, and then their herd started to grow. The point I'm trying to make is that miracles do happen, but we forget them. If you don't believe me, every morning the sun comes up. That's a miracle. Every single morning. Miracles don't work, but this is the miracle. I'm going to have somebody else come up here. Mr. Rudyard, come up here. Is that you? Is that you? Come up. Yeah. What was your name again? Isaac what?
Isaac. Yellowbank.
Yellowbank. I know his brother. His brother is one of our facilitators. Wonderful man. Isaac, right?
Yes.
Okay. Isaac, get on this side of me. That guy's buffed out, man. Isaac, okay. I just got through saying miracles don't work, right? But guess what? He is a miracle. He's a miracle. There's never been an Isaac like him, ever, ever, ever. And there'll never be an Isaac like him ever, ever, ever again. He is one of a kind. He's unique. He's priceless. And he's precious, precious, precious. My job is to help him understand that, not just to know it and know the words. He has to feel it right here. He has to understand how unique he is and how important he is. Now, have you ever seen people that don't go very far in life many times? You know why? Because they drag around their past. They shackle themselves to the past. And they carry guilt, shame, sorrow, regret, and the list goes on, and they don't move very far. What I tell this young man, Isaac, I say, you know what? Play with me here. There's a magical key to your heart. There's a magical key to his heart. I can help him find it. But guess what? I can't turn it. He's going to have to, when he finds that key, he's going to have to turn it himself. And when he unturns that key, he can literally take that key out of his heart and begin to unshackle himself from the past. He has to unshackle himself. I can't do it, nor can anybody else. He has to do it. I can help him find the key, and I can give him the skills to do it, but he has to turn it. You know what happens? When he unshackles himself, he's basically doing this. He is transforming himself from the old him to the new him. The old Isaac to the new Isaac. He no longer is the same. He may have looked the same, but his mind and his heart are different. He's a different person. And watch him do things in life. Watch him do things that he never, ever thought he could do. He is a miracle. So quit praying for a miracle. Pray for strength for you to get strong and to understand how important you really are. Am I making sense? He has to understand that. Much of his self-worth comes from him as a child. His relationship he has with his parents. Parents don't understand how important they are in creating their children's self-worth. Now, the young man he saw in there, his mother abandoned him and his brother when he was about 10, 11 years old. They wanted to go see the show. I think it was the Ark of the Rain. No, was that Ark show? Raiders of the Lost Ark? Yeah, I think that was a movie. Yeah, Indiana Jones, yeah. I think that was what he wanted to see. So his mom says, they got him tickets. Her and her boyfriend got her tickets and popcorn, enough for buy popcorn and pop. And they said, we'll pick you up when the movie's over. Never came back. Never came back. So the theater manager had to call the police, and CPS got involved, and him and his brother were together for a while in the same home. They split them up. You know what? I'll tell you the rest of the story. About 18 years later, he goes back into his hometown, and they said, you know what? After he's out of the system, your mother's in town. And he wanted to go see his mother. And he thought, I'm going to see my mother. She's going to say, oh, hi, son, I love you. I miss you. I just apologize and cry to him. He said, Al, I saw my mother, and she was in the motel with the door open in the summertime, and she was rolling marijuana. And he looked at her, and he called her by name. I'm your son, Mark. You know what she did? She looked at him, and she says, do you want a joint? She didn't say, how are you? I missed you. I love you. Do you want a joint? He said that really, really hurt him. Because all these years he's been anticipating. When he sees his mom, he's going to have all this great reunion, and it doesn't happen. His self-worth, can you imagine if your parents abandoned you, what that would do to your self-worth. And you know what? And his behavior reflects it. Do you see why loving your clients is critical? And love what you bring to them is critical. Now, when this man sees, let's look at his identity. In our program, we call it domestic violence, true identity theft. Somebody is stealing your identity away from you. Now, let me give you an example of what I mean by that. Can you sit in this chair? Now, if I push this young man down, if I push him down and hold him back, push him down and hold him back, and I do that for years, and generally this is how it starts. It starts by criticizing him. In other words, in res country, it's called shaming out. If I can push him down and hold him back for years, that's called oppression. I'm oppressing this young man. I'm oppressing him. Now, let's say I'm out of his life. And then we say, okay, Isaac, come on, man, you're sharp, you're good looking, you're strong, you're talented. And Isaac just sits there, and he's no longer being oppressed by me. And he just sits there. He wants to do things, but he's not doing it. Now, what's that called? He just sits there. He falls into a state of what? He's been oppressed all these years. Now he becomes what? Depressed. A state of depression because he's been oppressed for so long. He wants to do things, but he can't. Depression is more connected with your past. Anxiety is more connected with your future. Come on, do it. I can't do that. Anxiety is more with your future. Depression is more with your past. That's why, do you see uplifting him? Uplifting is so important. You uplift his self-image, his self-worth, his everything. You make him feel welcome, wanted, needed. You make him feel special. He has to feel that. And it doesn't happen overnight. But it comes easier when you love your people. Love your clients. Once he sees his potential, now, oppression. You can be oppressed by a government, by a religion, by tradition, even by your own mom and dad. And then one of the ways to oppress them is to scare the hell out of them. Pardon my language. Let me tell you about my grandmother and tradition. I'm half Navajo, like I said. I was born and raised on the reservation. And I remember on the Navajo reservation, they're afraid of the dead. And if you go through the reservation, if you see a house that has been abandoned or a trailer been abandoned, chances are somebody died in that place. So people say, well, we can't live here because it's bad spirit, we leave. Well, my grandmother was about, in the early 90s, and she was an old lady, older person. And she got sick one year, and we took her into the hospital in the Fort Defiance in the Indian Health Service. They did check up on her. It wasn't there for several days. The doctor says, we can't help her. She's getting too old. That's part of aging. She's probably going to die in a few days. And my grandmother said, I want to die at home. I don't want to die in the hospital. And so we made arrangements to bring her home to the reservation. But when she was younger, she helped her husband build her house with her own hands. We brought her home from the hospital, but they wouldn't put her in her own house. Why? Because they thought if she died, they're going to abandon the house. So they built a little summer shade, we call it. And they put a nice little bed or rug and made it comfortable for her, waiting for her to pass away. But guess what? She didn't pass away for 3 more years. So they had to put insulation in there and make it comfortable. Made it comfortable. Tradition can be wrong. Governments can be, even right now, you have people that say you don't have to wear the mask. Some people say you have to wear the mask. But these are scientists that have conflicting opinions. You have to take the initiative to learn for yourself. Religions can do that to you. That's how the Lutheran Church got started, because he didn't agree with the Catholic Church. That's how the Lutheran Church started. learn. One of the best ways to oppress this young man is to keep him ignorant. If I keep him ignorant, I will control him to the day he dies, and that's the truth. And we Native people have been controlled out of ignorance. We have to learn for our own survival. In fact, we tell fathers and mothers this. One of the sacred responsibilities of fathers and mothers is this, is to put the desire to learn into their children. That's the responsibility of dad and mom, to put the desire to learn into their children. So when the kid goes to school, the teacher does not put the desire to learn because it's been put there by mom and dad. What the teacher does is they enhance that desire to learn. They make it grow because mom and dad has put it there. And if we're kept ignorant, someone or something will control us till the day we die. And that's a good case of domestic violence. They keep you ignorant. And one of the ways they keep you ignorant is by giving you promises, false promises, or they flatter you to death. They flatter you, and you throw them off guard. When somebody flatters you, it throws them off guard. And they tell you half-truths. Not a full truth, but a half of a truth. Flatter you and keep you ignorant. You'll control somebody to the day they die, and that's the truth. We Native people have to recognize our forefathers understood so many things. We got to go back and bring some of the things back from them. And one of the things our forefathers taught us is this, the importance of work. And I hate to say this, but I'm going to say it anyway. Some of our young Native mothers baby their boys to death. They make the girls work more, but they baby their boys to death. They're doing a big injustice to their family. Because someday that boy is going to have to provide for his family. If he doesn't know how to work, he's going to have problems. Mom, grandparents, make your boys work. The best way to work, make them work, is to work side by side with them. Somebody said yesterday that this can be harmful. I call this today's Trojan horse. This is today's modern Trojan horse. Back when I was a young man, if you wanted to go to see something, an X-rated movie, you had to sneak into a theater. Hopefully no one see you, right? Today it's all right here. In fact, what they were saying was this. Young boys now are being addicted to pornography at the age of 10 and 11 years old. Scary. Parents need to know what's going on, what are their kids looking at. I tell parents this. The two most important people in your children's lives is their mom and dad. Children love to please their parents, particularly there's a loving relationship there. We need to make our homes a safe haven for our families. In Arizona, they have what they call pigeon clubs. And they groom these pigeons. The owners sing and they feed these pigeons, they clean them, they bathe them, they love these. And then every spring, they take these pigeons, they have different clubs, take them up as far as Canada. And they let them go. They mark them. And they have a race to see how many, they have categories, how many pigeons come back. Which ones come back to first, earliest. Now, they lose one or two pigeons every year. Maybe they're flying over Winnavegas and they fell in love with the pigeon in Winnavegas. I don't know. But they didn't come home. But they fly all that way back to Arizona because they have been raised in a safe environment. Our children will come home and they know that they are safe and loved. I don't know of any kid that has a dream to run away from home. Parents put it there. Parents put it there. Remember I said, that's why we say fatherhood is sacred, motherhood is sacred. Those are the two most sacred things on the face of this earth. We are, in fact, partners with the Creator. He's given us this responsibility. In fact, every animal lives in a family. Even vegetation has family. Humans are no different. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you. Now, so he is the miracle. You see what I'm saying? My job is to help him understand that. And there is a key to his heart that he can take it and unshackle himself. He no longer is the same person. He's changed, and it's been an honest change. How much time do we got, Terry? 5 more minutes? 10 minutes? Okay. I went to Canada, to Toronto, and they had a 2.5-day conference on fatherhood. And I got there late that night. The next morning, I go downstairs really early and to look at the agenda. And it says Al Pooley from 9 to 10:30, break from 10:30 to 12 o'clock, Al Pooley. Lunch from 1:30 to 3 o'clock, Al Pooley. From break from 9:30 to 4:30, 5:30, 5 o'clock, Al Pooley. I was the only person on the agenda for 2.5 days. And nobody told me that. So I can't talk. In fact, my wife was, she'd go like this, like, yeah, cut it. So anyway, what I've done now, what we're doing now is that we can see that I'm going to need some help. Can some of you ladies help me? I'm going to pass some things out. Can somebody help me pass these things out? There is looking at physical health. That and this and this. But we need some help and this. Okay. We've hooked Native American Fatherhood and Family Association has partnered with an organization that deals in looking at, oh, thank you, health-related issues. One of them is blood sugar. I'm a diabetic myself, type 2 diabetic, and I've been taking these pills for years. And so what then do, and they have created this, it's called Enzymes. Every living thing that's alive has enzymes. Now, there's different kinds of enzymes, but the one that we're looking at is called metabolic. It helps us with the digestive system. I'm passing out some information here that if you're interested in, and this product we have has been patented. It has a federal patent on it. And we are the only ones in this country that can now sell it now to Native people. But it really has helped a lot. I have even lost a few pounds. My blood sugar at one time, before I took these pills, was hovering around the high 200s. And I took my blood the other day, and it was 98. Because the enzymes help digest the food. If you've been bruised through an accident, enzymes help restore that too. It helps with shingles. Most people talk about vitamins, but very few people talk about enzyme. But enzyme is in every living thing. So the pills, I brought some, I thought I brought samples, but I left them at home. I don't have them with me. So if you're interested, please feel free to call us. We can sell you a bottle or sell you a whole case, whatever you want to do. And want to try it. So anyway, we have the exclusive one, but it has been patented by the United States government. Okay. Anyway, I'm not going to spend any more time on that. But you have all the information. If you have any questions, you can call and talk about. Now, in closing, I want to tell Terry that I really have a deep appreciation and love for that man, the people up here. Like I said, Terry was the first person to come through our training program back in 2002. And a lot of people say they're going to start the program, but they don't. He was one that stuck with it. Now, let me say one thing about, since this is a conference, a little bit about addictions, and I'll quit with this last example. We Native people have a problem with all kinds of addictions. One of them is alcoholism. And I'm going to give you an example how I look at alcoholism. Let's say that you're a good athlete. Was it Peter, was it? Pete, was it? Pete? Jane. Well, who was? Isaac. Oh, my God, memory's going. Isaac's all kind of buffed out. Okay. Did you play sports, Isaac? What did you play? Football. Okay. Isaac was a football player. And let's say Isaac was doing really good in football. And somebody came to Isaac and said, hey, Isaac, if you take this alcohol, it's good for you. You can do things like unwind and just relax and all these wonderful things. So they convinced Isaac to take this and start using alcohol. You start drinking it, you start to use it. It's like give him a cane to get up. He doesn't need a cane, but he's now using a cane. Then somebody comes to Isaac and says, Isaac, that cane isn't all that. Use these crutches, man. These crutches are really good. The gals can sign their name on it. You can do all these fancy things with it. Defend yourself. It's really good. This cane is really good. Put that cane away and use these crutches. So Isaac puts the cane away and starts using these crutches. His performance as an athlete is going to even drop even more. He doesn't need the crutches, but now he's using these crutches. Then they come to Isaac a little later on and say, Isaac, hey, those crutches aren't all that. Use this wheelchair, man. The gals can push you around, and you can do all these fancy tricks with this wheelchair, man. It's good. So he puts the cane away. He puts the crutches away, and he starts using this wheelchair. His performance as an athlete is going to drop even more. Why do I tell you that story? Because a cane is like using alcohol. Your performance is going to drop a little bit. You start abusing alcohol, it's like crutches. Your performance is going to drop even more. You become addicted, it's like a wheelchair. Your performance is going to drop even more. The best indication I can give you is this. Have you ever seen, you know what? When you become addicted to something, you know what? You stop solving your problems. You become the problem. You quit learning. Have you ever seen guys that are 40 years old, 50 years old, still act like 19-year-old kids? Because they haven't learned to solve their own problems. They're depending on alcohol or drugs. That's why I tell you that story. When you start using, you don't need it. But it's like using a cane. Abusing it, it's like crutches. Addiction becomes like a wheelchair. We Native people need to solve our own problems. And guess where it starts? With good old dad and moms. And I've seen men turn their lives around, and man, they are advocates, particularly if you've had a tough life. I tell them this. Some of you have had a really bad life. You've lost opportunities. You've been in prison. You've been divorced 2 or 3 times. You've lost your children. But there's 3 ways you learn, basically. One of the ways you learn is through study, going to school. One way you learn. The other way is the next biggest way you learn is that can you be instructed? Can you receive instruction? But the third biggest way you learn is from your experience, because you've actually experienced it. Now, I tell my fathers and mothers this. Some of you have paid a very, very, very high price where you're at right now. Some of you are still paying for it. You better learn how to use your experience, because you paid a high price or you're still paying for it. Let us teach you how to use your experience. And some of my best facilitators, I'm not kidding, have been imprisoned, have been divorced, have lost children, and they are phenomenal when it comes to helping people. Not only do they have empathy, empathy is good. I talked to you yesterday, empathy is good. That's what they teach in college. That's important. But there's something stronger than empathy. It's called compassion. If I have compassion for somebody, I not only feel how they feel, but compassion pushes me to help them out, motivates me to help them change. I want our fathers and mothers to understand the importance of developing their compassion. I'm sorry about this. I was at a national conference one time, my phone went off. I got embarrassed, I didn't know what to say, so I said, I'm sorry, it's just Paris Hilton still trying to hook up with me. It's a lie, but it's a fantasy, right? Some women say, I'm better. Nah, get it, I'm better. So I'll settle with Paris Hilton. Okay. Anyway, it's been a pleasure to be here. And my son Mark and I are leaving to go back to Arizona this afternoon. And so if I can answer any questions, be of any service to you, I'll be more than happy to do that. Before I go, is there any questions or comments you'd like to ask or share? Any questions? Yes, LaDonna. What? Okay. This little boy, this is about, it's about communication. Communication is really hard sometimes, okay? One thing about parenting, you got to be consistent and clear. If rules aren't basically clear, fair, and consistent, they're basically useless, okay? And this one experiment is about clear. The aunt told this little boy to go to the store and buy some pop because her boyfriend was coming over. Can you go to the store and buy some pop? And he said, what kind do you want? She said, just go mix it up and bring it back and mix it up. So he goes, she gives him, her little nephew, some money to go to the store to buy some soda pop. He buys all flavors of soda and he comes back and he gets this big pot and he pours all the soda into this big pot. And then his aunt comes in and she says, what did you do? He says, I just did what you told me to do. Go get some pop and mix it up. Her instructions were not very clear. He read it one way and he said it the other way. Again, is our communication, that's a whole other thing. There's two things you must do in strengthening relationships. Well, let me just back up some more. I told you I'm a marriage counselor. When somebody comes in to see me, I work on 5 things. I don't work on their past. I get to the past later on, not off the bat. You got to prepare people to look at their past. You got to prepare them. This is like I said, I want you to run a mile, Isaac, run a mile. He looks like in pretty good shape, but can I run a mile under 5 minutes? I don't know. He can if I prepare him. And some people look like they're prepared, but sometimes they're not, to look at their past. You got to prepare people to look at their past because there may be a lot of trauma associated with that past. So in a marriage, when people come in to see me, I work on, well, first I want to know, do they really want to get a divorce or do they want to work things out? Let's say they want to work things out. Let's say that. I work on 5 things. Number 1, I tell that man and woman to learn to be kind to each other. Okay? You be kind, you speak kindly to each other. You do kind things with each other. And when you're by yourself, you do kind things for each other. And when you're by yourself, you speak kindly about the other. Be kind. Number 1. Number 2, you know what? And I tell them the benefits all the while. When you're kind to people, guess what happens? They start to open up. When you're mean, they close up real fast. Even your own family. So if you want to learn about people, you be kind, they'll begin to open up naturally. Number 2, you learn to be fair. You be fair with each other. In other words, sometimes I can do it, but you can't do it. No, it doesn't work that way. You be fair to each other. You know what? I tell them there's benefits to being fair. You know why? Because when you're committed to being fair, guess what happens? You're preparing yourself to forgive others and to forgive yourself. There's a reason to be fair. But when you're fair with your partner, you begin to connect. Boom, boom, more than you miss. The third thing I work on, I want them to appreciate each other. Now, what's your name? Lydia. I'm going to ask Lydia a question. If this girl is appreciated at home and at work, you know what this girl's going to do, Lydia? You tell me if I'm right or wrong. When she's really appreciated, she's not taken for granted. When she's appreciated, she will do more. Am I right? She'll give more. Am I right? And she'll even put up with more. Am I right?
Yes.
Yes. She needs to be appreciated. So I tell the husband and wife, you appreciate your partner for all they do. And they better appreciate you. Number 4, they want to be safe. Safe emotionally, physically, spiritually, you be safe. I go through the whole process of that. And the fifth thing you do is that they want a little bit of joy and laughter in their life. Because some people, when they get married, they get boring. You know that? They get boring. There's no joy and laughter in their lives anymore. So you bring joy and laughter to each other. What are the 5? Anybody write them down? Anybody write? What are the 5? Kind, fair, appreciate, safe, and enjoy joy and laughter. Simple. And this is real Native American 101. But most professionals say, oh, it's because of lack of communication. No, it's not. It's because of sex. No, it's not. Everyone likes sex. Even mosquitoes enjoy sex, for heaven's sakes. Isn't that about finance? If you do those 5 things, you'll fix your own problems, I promise. Can I have 5 more minutes? Okay. The 3 biggest reasons for divorce, from my experience, number 1 is called selfishness. Selfishness. When you fall in love, you connect. Boom, 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 on all levels. Social level, physical level, emotional level. Boom, boom, that's how you fall in love. But in every relationship, including mine, there's one that's more selfish than the other. They begin to elevate themselves a little bit more than their partner, and you miss more than you connect. My friends are more important than yours. My family's more important than yours. My career is more important. I'm just more important than you, that's all. Selfishness is the biggest reason for divorce. And you know something? I don't know if they do it up here, but in Arizona they do. Do people here in Winnavegas ever have affairs on their partner? They don't? Well, in Arizona they have affairs. They cheat on their husband or wife. They don't cheat here in Nebraska? Good. Come to Arizona. A lot of people that cheat down there, okay. The one person that is more selfish, guess what? Is the one that's more prone to cheat. Think about it. Think about it. The one that's more selfish is the one that's more prone to cheat. I can give you a whole list of things. The second biggest reason for divorce is called emotional immaturity. You can have a person that's intellectually mature. They can be a businessman. They can be a college professor. They can be a doctor, a lawyer, a judge, teacher. Intellectually, they're mature. Physically, they're mature. They can play football. They can be a cowboy, a bronc rider. They can have babies, make babies. Physically, they're mature. But here, they're immature. Emotionally, they're immature. They blame, they complain, they criticize, they whine. And one thing they do is this, and I know they don't do it here. Again, they do it in Arizona. They're jealous. Jealousy is a sign of immaturity, emotional immaturity. And I tell people, if you're jealous, guess what? Understand something. A person that's really jealous, you are suffocating the love right out of that relationship. Some people call it res love. It's not res love. Serious. Jealousy can do damage. Criticizing. Let me tell you something about some of this. Do you have anybody here that's just constantly criticizing? Ever seen the people around that? Someone that's criticizing, you know something? These people, you can diagnose them. They're not very grateful. They're not very grateful. They think somebody owes them something. They're entitled to something. No, no, no. So people that are critical. If you're a director of a program, someone that criticizes or critical all the time, be cautious. Because these are the kind of people that will bring formal charges against you that are not verifiable. Why? Because they're criticized. That's what they do. Check ourselves. I go a whole list of things. But the second biggest reason for divorce is emotional immaturity. The third biggest reason for divorce, I just call it laziness. And some people are just lazy. Why? Because marriage is a living thing. It has to be nourished. And just because you're beautiful or handsome is not enough. It has to be nourished. It has to be fed. I had neighbors of mine. He was a good-looking man. He was married to a beautiful lady. He was a hard worker. He worked all the time. When he come home, he'd still work. cut the yard, cut the grass, trim the bushes, everything, clean the yard, hard worker. He worked on everything else but his relationship. Everything but the relationship. His looks wasn't enough. His money wasn't enough. She wanted some of his attention. They ended up getting a divorce. A lazy person becomes very boring after a while because they do the same thing over and over and over again. And the list goes on. But anyway, I don't want to stop with a negative note, but that's how it happens. Now, all my facilitators, they know one thing. When I tell a joke, you have to laugh at it, right? Remember that? Terry knows that. So I'm going to end with on a high note with a joke. You've heard this joke before, I'm sure. But I'm going to tell it again. It's about this guy. He was small in stature. He liked to mind his own business. And he went into this bar just to relax or unwind. What do you want to call it? Minding his own business. He had to struggle to get to the stool. He sat there. This big old bully guy's come in, big old guy. He says, "Hey, guy, little guy, that's my chair you're sitting in." And the little guy just ignored him, kept on drinking his drink, minding his own business. And the big guy says, "I said that's my chair you're sitting in. You have to move." And the little guy just kept drinking his drink, minding his own business. The big guy got mad. "I'm going to tell you one last time, that's my chair, you have to move." And the little guy just ignored him again, kept drinking his drink. So the big guy hit him really hard, almost knocked him off a chair. And he says, "That was a judo chop from Japan. I told you to move." The little guy kept on drinking his drink. The big guy got really mad this time, hit him really hard, knocked him off his chair. He said, "I told you to move." He said, "That was a karate chop from China." The little guy walks out. A few minutes later, the bartender hears this big bang. The big guy's knocked out cold on the floor. And the little guy told the bartender, "When that bully wakes up, you tell him that was a crowbar from Walmart." It's so nice to be here again. Terry, thanks for inviting me up here. And I want to tell you, I appreciate you all and love you all. Leave you with my love and prayers. And thank you very much.
Okay, I see Lydia and Emma finally made it. Say thank you. Better late than never. Good one. And we're gonna just take maybe a 6-minute break because Nate Big Fire is next, and he's brother Nate. He's just he's following me around for I don't know how many years, 7, 8 years now. Boy, he's a professional speaker. He gets up, and he talks from heart, makes you cry. And Al, God bless you. I know Al traveled everywhere. And last time I went to the conference about 3 years ago, I was up front there, big audience here as kind of a part of a panel. And Mark Charging, he was on the video. So he's calling him the Tank, 19 and a half years in prison, solitary confinement. Brother Mike Duncan from Sacramento, California, created his own program, Native Dads Network, after following Al Pooley, became a leader, a servant to his people. They got up there in front of the people, and Mark was saying, locked down in prison 19 and a half years, and Mike Duncan got up there, locked down about 10, 12 years, and when I finally got to the mic, I didn't know what to say. I'd never been in jail in my life. Almost one time, but that's it. And so now, the message that Al Pooley talks about, what's in the past is in the past, right? It's in the past. We can't change the past. And so, moving forward through Fatherhood, Motherhood is Sacred, addressing family violence and abuse, he talked about how simple it is. Choices. It goes back to those choices here. And to me, Nate's going to talk about it. I'm going to talk about it tomorrow morning, spirituality empowerment. And sometimes we get disconnected from our native ways and our native spirituality. So we're going to take a few minutes, wipe your foreheads off. Then we're gonna start with Nate. I'm going to give him another introduction. So take 5 minutes. Maybe okay, 5 minutes. God bless.
Okay, I want you to have your attention here. Everyone shut up. Ha! like Al said, sometimes fatherhood and motherhood are sacred. It's all about what is the purpose of life? Anybody? The purpose of life is to have a happy and safe family. We say that in the father and mother sacred way of life. And sometimes when I get upset with my children, they try to use that against me. Dad, remember, father is sacred, Dad. Father is sacred, be nice. That's right. Please move that ass. Get something done. And so we go through life and we have those feelings, emotions. We have that teachable moment every day. And so today, here, these last 2 days was tomorrow evening is going to be not just a teachable moment, but a spiritual moment. And when we started this conference 7 years ago, the only goal for the conference is to uplift, inspire, motivate the people that serve the people to really serve the people. Don't just go through the motions and be there physically. Serve them. And so Brother Nate, he's talked this morning here is the disconnect and the reconnect, evidence-based. And tomorrow I'm going to be kind of talking about the same thing here. So like I said, Nate's been, every time I go somewhere, I take Nate because he's got a powerful story. He's got a powerful message, how he lives his life right now. Nothing but love for Nate and nothing but proud of him, beyond proud of him, how he is. I can call Nate's one of the bros. I can call him, boom, midnight, 11 o'clock. I need this, I need that. Okay, T. Always there to serve me. So Nate right now works for the alcohol program. He works in the halfway house. He's in the trenches with LaDonna, finding the people. And he just goes above and beyond 24/7. He's ready to serve people. Let's give him a round of applause. Nate, come on up. Oh.
Good morning. I greet everyone. Good morning. And then I want to say thank you, Terry, for allowing me to speak. And then say thank you to Al and your sonny boy, like that. And then a part of your vision and your dream, like that, to help all the Native people, Turtle Island, like that. And then we're a part of that. So I want to say thank you to you personally for what you're doing for creation, like that. So this morning, I'm gonna have my two nephews help me, the Red Horn Boys, and then I'm gonna let them introduce themselves.
I'm Zayas. My water spirit.
I am Zion Redhorn. I am water spirit.
Okay, so these two boys they've been helping me lately. Like I said, yesterday a little bit when I was talking that I was sitting in the sweat lodge and all our sweat lodge family was in there and we're praying, and then it came to me and then in my ear, and it's like, we're always in here, the same ones. We're always sitting here praying and doing things, which is good. And then I said, use the young people. So last winter, then I kind of told my big brother Dan about what I was gonna do, and so I'm gonna this coming year when when the Thunder Beans come back, and then I'm gonna use the younger generation to build their foundation, their spirituality, like that. And so
these two little hoe chunks, they've been helping me get willows, and then putting up the sweat lodge and kind of doing that. And then I even took them in there and got little bitty stones for them, and then we went in there and we prayed, and they really like it. So today, then I was like, again, then that voice came in and said, use them again, take them up there. So I asked Amelia, I said, should we use the boys? And she said, yeah. So I want to give props to Amelia because she takes care of them, and she's a foster parent for the tribe like that. And she's a really good friend. She helps me. We get wood and we do all them things when none of my bros are around. So we go and get wood for the halfway house, and then, for the other sweat lodges too, like that. So my name is Nathaniel Bigfire. I'm a Ho Chunk, Lakota, and Cheyenne. Come from the Thunder Clan people. My mother is Rebecca Bigfire. Her mother is Marjorie Rice. Her father is Harold Bigfire. And then we come from her mother was come from the Snake Clan. So I come from the Snake and the Bigfire and Rice on my Ho Chunk side. And then on my Lakota side, I come from the Red Bear and Crow Dog people. My dad is Albert Red Bear, and then his dad is Albert Red Bear Senior, and then his mom is a Christine Crow Dog. So those are the people I come from, and then my Cheyenne side, I come from the Elk Shoulders, and then Star, and Slow Dog relatives. So that's where I come from, and then there's kind of a lot of things I could talk about, but first, before I talk about them, and then I'm gonna talk about creation, creator, and then the grandfathers that sit in the corners, and then up above, creator, and then grandmother earth and the stone people, how they changed my life, how they helped me achieve my goals. And then so before I do that, I'm gonna sage off those directions because I'm gonna talk about them, and they're that holy, like that. My grandmas and my grandpas taught me that. So before any further, then I'm gonna have these young men make a prayer, and then they're gonna come through and then sage each and every one of you off like that. So I want to say thank you to these two young men for helping me, and then all that they want in their life, and then pray for them that they have a good education all the way up, and that they learn. So in a way, I'm not nobody. I'm not trying to be anybody or anything like that. But I'm just trying to pass on a little bit of knowledge that my grandfathers and my grandmothers shared with me. And so I'm a big drunk and a druggie, and that's how I live my life for a lot of years. But when I was these young boys' age, I sat around my grandfathers, and my dad, and then they did things with me like this. So I grew up around the sweat lodge and a traditional way of life on my Cheyenne side. And then through life, I experienced reservation life and start to drink. And we all know that. And then every now and then, I would put the alcohol and the drugs down, and then I'd go up to the Native American church, and I'd sit there. Everyone think I was sober. Oh, you're sober? I said, no. I said, I'm doing something. What you doing? I said, I'm taking a time out for Creator. So I'd go up there and I'd listen to my chokas and my gagas in the Native American church. And I would do that, and then I would start drinking again and start drugging again. And so I kind of did that on and off. And then I started having dreams when I was younger. And then I knew I was going to do something, because that's how our ancestors communicate with us. It's through our dreams and visions. So I'm going to drink till I'm 25. And I'd put it off. Oh, I'm going to drink till 30. Because I still wanted to drink and have fun. Put it off, and I'm going to drink till I'm 35, then I'll get serious. Well, anyways, Creator had a different plan for me when I turned 35. And through alcohol and drugs and drinking, they have this domestic abuse charge that one of the presidents put in place. And so I got 3 of them. On my 3rd one, when I was 35, and then I had went to Wagner, South Dakota. And then me and my companion, we was fighting. And then so they put me in jail. And then I called home, and she didn't know where I was at. She's like, "Where are you?" I was like, I'm in Lake Andes. I said, "I'm in jail, incarcerated." And you know how I'm gonna get you out, and I'm gonna go talk to Terry, the judge, and all that. And I was like, all right. But I knew, in the back of my mind, I was like, I'm going down. So I was in there, and then I knew I was gonna go to prison. So, anyways, that's when I start changing my life. That's when my thought process started changing. Then I was like, man, I don't want to be in here, that door locking. Whoever been in jail know that door closing, that's not a good thing. And then so I asked Creator to help me, and I told Creator, I said, I'm ready. I said, I'm tired of this lifestyle. I said, I'm tired of hurting my family. I said, I'm tired of hurting my children. I said, they're suffering, and I'm suffering too. And I didn't have my sage or anything like that. but I had a cup of water and I was praying with that water. That's all I had. But I told Creator, I said, whatever you want me to do, I said, I'll do it. I said, just show me why I'm like this. I said, I don't want to be like this no more. So Creator took me on a long journey through prison. And when you go to prison, you know who loves you and who cares about you. You know, who takes time out for you. And then it ain't none of all those people I was drinking with, I can tell you that. So the prayers of our mothers and our grandmothers are really strong because all this time they were praying for me. They wanted something good for me. They didn't want me to be like that. I had better teachings than that. So yesterday I told you a little bit when I went to prison, and then when I got there, and when I told everyone, the people that were in charge, you could say, the bosses. So I did that, and so then I enrolled myself in a thing called RDAP, Residential Drug Treatment Program, and it's a year-long program. So I went in there and then I started learning about myself, taking classes. And then I have a dream book. I write all my dreams down because they tend to come true. Then I put the dates on there and the time. And then I go back to it. And I've accomplished a lot of things that the spiritual grandfathers want for me and Creator wants for me. So just to keep myself sane, I do that. And I still have it. And I write everything down in there and everything I learned. And so I had a dream of this tobacco and then this peyote kettle and then this chanupa, this pipe. And then it was handed to me. So I got up and I wrote that down. And I put on there, something good's coming. Something holy's coming. So that morning, I was sitting there. And then I had a bunkie. And that morning, before I was getting ready, and then I start crying. I start crying, feeling sorry for yourself and things like that, and all the emotions, the depression, you know, when you're in jail, you're locked up. You're thinking of your kids, you can't be by your kids, and then I start laughing. And then my bunkie kind of peeks down at me, and he's like, shit, what's going on down there? I looked up to him, I said, you know what? I said, I did all this to myself. So that was a point of change for me, you know. I accepted it. You know, I did all this to myself. Usually we want to blame other people. We want to put that blame on someone, any other than ourselves. When we're in addiction, they made me do it, or it's not going right, or my mom, my dad, and you know, just everything. Even at the job, you know. So at that point, and then I call it like Wosh Kapi Wakan Chunk, that holy feeling from Creator, because at that point, everything lifted off of me, and I felt real light, and then I felt real clean, my spirit, and so every day I work on that, because I like that feeling, doing stuff for people, helping our people, motivating our people, helping our people achieve goals, and then that gives me that feeling. So I really like it, and I enjoyed it, and then the Creator gave me that feeling. So I try to use it. And then anybody that's around me, you know. And then I always say, I'm learning that to helping our people, when our people are hurting in addiction, through drugs and alcohol, a lot of people give up on them. A lot of people make fun of them. You know, our people are out there on the streets because the way that they look, the way that they're dressed. I seen it. I'm gonna sit next to people. Hey, look at them. They're never gonna change. Hey, look at them. And they don't feel good about themselves, so that's why they're like that. So I tell people, I said, they're like that because of us. I said, we have to make everyone around us stronger physically, mentally, and spiritually. I said, we don't go over there and help them. I said, they're going to be like that. We got to go over there and pick them up and help them. It's because of us. They're like that. We have to show them a new way of life. So when I hear relatives talk about people like that, I want to go over there and help them. Just prove them wrong. And we have some people in our tribe that has proved them wrong, and I'm one of them. Because people talked about me like that. He ain't never gonna do anything. He's just a drunk. I know there's some people in here that gave me a ride, and I was thinking about that. Gave me a ride to the federal building. She's in here today. And then I remember that ride, and I said, "This is the last time I'm gonna be in a paddy wagon like that, because I have better teachings than that." So I think of that ride and that song that was playing that time when they took me to the federal building. But I changed through hard work and discipline. And then Creator showed me a way and made a way for me. So when I went there, I asked the stone people to help me. I talked to them. I asked that chanupa to help me. I asked that fire to help me. I asked the water people to help me. The elements. As Native Americans, we don't think of them as much because of the society that we're in today. But that's our old way of life. Communication with the earth, with Grandmother Earth, with our spiritual teachings, with the spiritual chiefs of our people. The spiritual chiefs of the, I don't want to say the animal nation because they're not an animal, but that's where they come from. The owl, the black-tailed deer, it's the eagle nation, like that. The bear nation. They all have chiefs, even little people. Some people in the Bigfoots, they even have a chief or representative like that. So through that, and then I'm going to talk on a little bit of historical trauma. That's a little bit, I want to tell you how I changed. I changed myself, and I asked them for help, and they helped me, and they still help me today, like that. And that's a big reason why I'm here talking. So through this Fatherhood is Sacred, and then me working with the people and listening to elders talk, and then listening to stories that I heard. When we got took to the reservation, we became dependent on the United States government, and that was part of their plan because we're a spiritual people, we're a powerful people, we're a supernatural people, and so they took that from us. And when they did that, they took the responsibility of the Father to teach the Son how to communicate with the earth, how to communicate with the spirit nation, how to communicate with Creator, how to communicate with Grandmother. And I took that responsibility away from us, from the man, from teaching his son how to go on a hill and fast. It was part of their plan. And then when they did that, then they snuck alcohol in there with the commodities, with the food. And then when they did that, they took our grandmothers and grandmas and they put them in boarding schools. And then when they did that, they beat them physically, mentally, emotionally. They told them our way of life was wrong. They made them cut their hair. So all that, while that was happening over there, the father was having a hard time. And what does the mother usually do? She follows her man, her boyfriend, her lover, her husband. So in there, then they start drinking because that's what the government, they snuck in there. So they start drinking. Domestic violence was born among our people. Anger, violence in the home. The mother and father were depressed because they had their children ripped from them. And the same thing with our children. They were depressed. They were hurt. And they were having a way of life forced on them. They were in shock, trauma. Some of them at a young age. And so when our grandmas and our grandpas did come home, what did they come home to? Mom and dad drinking. Majority of them, not all of them. Violence in the home. Domestic abuse. Because no one showed us how to drink the proper way. A loss of a way of life. So when our grandparents came home to the home, that was something new because they were coping how to live in the reservation, the POW camps. And then when they were over there in boarding school, some of them got sexually molested, sexually abused. Now we see that's evident on our reservation now. It was taught a way of life. We didn't do that. Now a lot of our people, they tease jokingly, oh, nasty dega, oh, he's a nasty choker, nasty uncle. That's a big elephant in the room, but we don't ever address it. So when they came back, if they did come back, we lost a lot of our ancestors to boarding school. So if they did come back, this is what they were introduced to. A perfect storm. This is what we're fighting against now. Trauma. In the first years of our children's lives, when they have that soft spot on their head, the first 3 years is critical to what we put them, to what we teach them. That love from child to mother, that bond that they make, the teachings of the home, the spiritual teachings of the home, the spiritual teachings of the father. That's very important. So then we was ripped from our home, from our people, and that was beat into them. So those very crucial years of life, it was trauma that we're dealing with. That's what we're dealing with now. And that's passed on. Maybe 100 years that we've been dealing with it as a people, as a nation. And we become dependent. You see a lot of our people laying on the couch at grandmas and moms, and it's okay. Collecting GA, getting EBT, because that's what we're used to. So now that I've been helping and they've been teaching me is that our people are in pain, our people are hurting, because I think Mr. Pooley was talking about that love that we have. A lot of us wasn't shown that. We were shown how to deal with our problems through drinking, drugs. That's how we were taught. And it's not our fault. And through time when we came in, we've been slowly disconnected spiritually from our way of life, from our culture, from our language. It's not our fault. So now, through time, and then we're helping our people in recovery that want a different way of life. All we're showing them is something that's already inside them. As soon as they put down that bottle, as soon as they put down that drug, I'm native. And that's already inside us. And that's a bright light. Long time ago, that's where our villages were safe, because our grandmothers and our grandfathers and our elders, they were always praying people, and they always prayed in the village. And that bright light shone among our villages. I always say in the spiritual world, we're walking around and we're energy, we're light. So when we're praying, it gets brighter and brighter. So if we could close your eyes and look and think, in the darkness, our villages were light. And so we kept spiritual beings away from us through prayer. So we kept it like that for a long time. Our grandmas, our grandpas. Through that spiritual disconnection, those lights got dim. And I'm gonna hit on what meth does to us, spiritually, emotionally, physically. Because through time, we allowed them to come into our village. Our little children, they see it all the time. They talk about it. No one wants to listen to them. See shadows. Maybe they don't want to go in a room. Because when we let our relatives in a room, in our house, when we open up that door, you don't know where they've been. Sometimes spirits attach to people. And then we let them in that door, and then they come and they have a new home. I call them spirit eaters, because you see what they do, what it does to our people. Our people are real healthy and strong. Through time, when they're doing meth, they shrink. Till they even die. And those spirits, they like that. They live off that. And who else is next? The children. And why we allow them in our home is because a long time ago, when we fasted, when our fathers or our grandfathers put us up on a hill to fast, we're protected. We deprive ourselves of food and water and sleep. And we pray, and we have our tobacco. We have our protection. We go in the sweat lodge before we go on the hill. So we're protected spiritually, our creator, creation, grandmother. Now, reverse it on our other side. And then through time while we're doing that, we get blessed by our spirits. Maybe they might give us a song. Maybe they might give us a vision to help the people. It's never about yourself. It's always about to help the people when we fast. So we get blessed that way. Now when you're doing meth, you're not protected spiritually. And you're depriving yourself of sleep, of water, of food. And then other spirits, they come. They come into your home. And you see it with our female relatives. It mostly affects our female relatives. I don't know why. But they go on psychosis, where they're seeing things, where they're hearing things. Even some of our men are like that. And I tell them, I believe you. Because no one else will. So they're having a hard time spiritually. And they're allowing them spirits to come. Same way with alcohol. So with our program, when they come through our program, we start encouraging them to pray with tobacco, to ask Creator to help themselves, to pray for themselves. Because there's nobody better than us to tell Creator what we need in our life. Instead of having my Dega do it for me, or my Choka, my uncle, my Lexi do it for me. When I do it myself, I'm telling Creator directly what I want and how to be helped. So that's good, to pray for yourself. And we take them and sweat. And we cleanse their spirit off. And then from there, and then they could pick up and do whatever they want. Like that. Spiritually. However you go, we're going to help you. If you believe in the Bible, if you believe in a pipe, or if you believe in a pill. Those are all Creator's ways. They belong to Creator, His Son Jesus. When He gave, Henigra, Chisome, the white buffalo calf pipe woman. Those are all His children. His son, His daughter. I always tell our people, I said, Creator has many ways. And when you dream about water, water is a big thing. When you dream about water, it's our spirituality. Like that. So in creation, there's a lot of streams, there's a lot of rivers, right? All these streams, all these rivers. That big body of water represents Creator. And all these streams, and all these rivers, they all lead to that big body of water. And all these streams and all these rivers, they represent Creator's way, His pathway to Him. But at the end, they all lead to that big body of water. That's how I explain that, how many ways that Creator has to come to Him, to be a part of His creation. So it's the time I'm learning this. And then I use the Tanupa, the stone people, the water people, the Fire Nation to help. And how I ask them for help is a real simple prayer. I ask them to show something beautiful inside our people. And that's it. When I ask for help, show them something beautiful. That thing that we're looking for is inside our heart. We go out there searching for it. Drugs, friends, relationships, all that. So a little secret, it's inside our heart. Like Mr. Pooley was talking about, that key. When we find that, we become unstoppable. And we start healing. I always tell my little buddy LaDonna, I was like, how do we bottle up love and distribute it to our people? Because that's what's going to heal our people and our nation and our children and our homes is love. Real simple. It's the hardest thing to do, though. Very, very hard to love yourself. And then you can love your home. And then when you love your home, and then you can love your people. And then you can help your people. So through all this, I put my children through this. And I asked Creator, how do I show my children? I said, I need help. I need help because I really hurt my children. And it's like, you don't have to say anything. It's just your actions of what you do. That's how we show our children love. We don't have to say anything to them because we told them a lot of lies when we're addiction. When we're drunk, we're high, I'm going to sober up, I'm going to get you this, I'm going to get you that. But we never go through with it because we're hurting. So I had trouble with my son because of those first years of my life. I was drinking with him, me and his mother. Then my mom took him when I went to prison. And then when I came back, he was angry, very, very angry. He was mad. And I know what I did and the promise that I made, but you can't tell someone that. So each morning, before I go on, I want to thank the Snowball people, the Snowball family, because they really encouraged me when I came out. John, he gave me a job. Pete, Tom, and then Crystal and Grace, they needed help at the halfway house, so they hired me like that. So they gave me an opportunity. They believed in me. And then our Winnavegas tribe done the same. They helped me. So I know our people care because I'm sitting here. They helped me all the way through, even though I have a felony on me and all that. Terry, he believed in me. So I was going to work, and my son was coming back, and each day I love you, son. And he wouldn't say nothing, and I'd go out the door, come home, do my thing, and get him up for school. I love you, son. Go out the door, he wouldn't say anything. But I kept saying that to him over and over and over. Here one day I forgot. I was walking out the door, and my son said, I love you, Dad. And then I start crying on my way to work. And then I told Creator, thank you. I told Grandma, thank you. The stone people, the ego people, thank you for helping me achieve that goal. So from there, he opened up. And then I start teaching him what I knew. Put up sweat, make that fire, how you place the stone people, the grandpas, how you make that prayer, how you load the pipe song. He likes Monka Nooch, my Sunday boy. He likes to sing peyote songs. So that's what he's going after now. But I showed him them ways. and then we're still struggling. And then one day we was there. I was talking to Pete and Tom. We were sitting there talking, and I was listening to them, and they were saying what we're missing on our reservation is our degas. Because I remember when I was little, you couldn't run around town. You had to kind of stay in the shadows because we had degas and chocas and gagas out there. Hey, we seen your boy running around doing something. Or they would get after you. Then we'd go home, and then or the next day we'd get in trouble. It's not like that no more. So they were sitting there, and they were talking, and I was listening. So I used that. I brought my brothers in. I brought my sisters in. And then Dusty, he was a big part of my boy. And then we brought him in, and we brought him inside that circle, and we talked to him. My chocas, talked to him. Values, our whole chunk way of life. Spiritual laws. Showed him love. Showed him compassion. We did that. We kept doing that to him. So now he's still experienced, but he's not suicidal no more. Because he was suicidal, he was depressed. And we brought him out of that, our circle. And so there were some other young adults, young ladies, young men that were suicidal, depression. And then their mothers came, and we did the same thing. We took them inside the sweat lodge, and we encouraged them, and we prayed for them. We told them that we loved them, and that there's other people here too that went through the same thing. Man, it's amazing. It's cool. I mean, the power of our people on our young minds. And today, those young adults are doing really good from wanting to kill themselves. So that works. So all we have to do is listen, because they'll tell you what's going on. Same way with our people in addiction. Some people, you get them right now, you want to talk to them and tell them your way, and this is how I did it, this is how you have to be. And then our people that are having a hard time, they kind of turn around and they go the other way. You know? I always say that when we're working with our people, those monks, they walk on that rice paper, real delicate. That's how we have to be with our people when they want to change. We have to listen to them. They'll tell us. We have to be real careful in how we help them, because they have their own way. Each and every one of us, our way is all different. No one person's vision is the same. Creator gives us different songs. Maybe he'll give a different altar, a different vision to help the people. Maybe you're good at helping the people. Maybe you're good at doctoring the people. But we're all different. We're all powerful. And I always say that when Creator was making us, when we were still up there, and then he shows us all our life what we're going to do, everything that we're going to go through in life. Then he asks us if we want to go down there and experience that. But before he did that, he blew the breath of life in us, made our spirit. We're that powerful. That's how powerful we are as a people. Each and individual creator made us and he gave us that breath of life. And that's powerful because creator's a part of us. So if we can channel that and have our people use that energy, we'll become unstoppable again. The goals that we want to achieve for our people and our way of life. So all this I'm learning, and I apply it to my work and to what I do. And then now we're starting with the young generation. Some people, oh, he's got a Lakota altar. You know, people talk. But what it is that spirituality, that connection. I understand that. And if we can slowly reconnect our people, they're going to go to where they belong, to which way they want to continue their cultural education. My part is I'm just good at helping them find that. That's what the grandpas helped me with and the grandmas. That reconnection. And then from there they go. And then it's a ripple effect. When they stand up strong, then they're going to help someone. So if we want our people to heal, we have to start with our people that are suffering. Nowhere else. When we make our people strong, our tribe will get stronger too. I always say that we have to go back to the old way to make everything new again. And what I mean by that is that we have to go back to our spiritual laws, our spiritual morals. We can't go back to living in teepees, chipotokes, or, dressing all like that, have our feathers in, But we can live how our ancestors lived with the morals and values of our culture, of our teachings. That's what I mean by that. And we can show our children again that takes time, a lot of patience, because that's what was taken away from us. That's what we're suffering when we're talking about the trauma. That's why our people are turning to alcohol and drugs to solve their problems. That's the issue. It's because they're hurting. It's not the alcohol and the drugs. It's not that they're addicted. They're in pain. They're hurting. So if we can solve that, help them solve that and find that, and then we could reverse what happened. So those are the little things I'm learning, and that the creator's teaching me and grandma, and then incorporate it into our culture and into our outreach program, into our people that we're helping. And then in turn, they do that to someone around them, and it's a ripple effect. That goodness. And however you may believe, that's okay, because that way belongs to the Creator. No one way is right. I always say that when I was on the hill fasting, I was up there, I was fasting, and so I went up there traditional way, my pipe, and my grandpa Crodock, he puts me on the hill. And he's my grandpa, that's what he does for me. Here when I was up there, and they gave me a peyote song. They sung that peyote song while I was up there on the hill. And then sometimes in traditional people, just straight pipe way, they're kind of like, huh? You and my grandpa. He's like, really? I was like, yeah. So I sing that song in my sweat lodge. I mean, things like that, we can't understand we can't understand the Creator and His way, what He wants for us and how He wants for us to help the people. We're so egotistical. We think we know it. We think our way's right. You know, we think people should do everything how we do it because it's good for us. But it's not. I respect everybody's way of life. So I kind of want to look towards the camera and tell my mom hi and all the Facebook people on there because I know it's Winnavegas Live. So kind of throw that feather your way like that. So it's your time, and then we could do this. We all help, and we're all helpers. We're all gifted. We're all spiritually gifted to help our people. And I really want to say thank you to the alcohol program, the people that I work with, because I get to learn from them. You know, they know Scott, Crystal, Grace, Cheryl. You know, I get to learn from them, and they know they've been helping our people for a long, long time. Terry, you know, and then I want to say one more thing to my mom, Nona. When I came out, she encouraged me right there, and she used to take me up to the federal halfway house, and I would go in there and pray. We did that for a long time. Pray with our people, and I even have a sweat lodge for our people that get out of federal prison. So a lot of the brothers from federal prison, they come and sweat with me, and then they come over to my house because they don't know any other way. That's where a lot of us find our spirituality at, in the federal system. And then when we come out, it's like, where's our lodge? And then they kind of don't feel worthy to go to somebody else's lodge. So, and then they find out, hey man, go over to Nate's. You know? Sometimes I get it hot, you know, because that's the way they like it. But usually I just get it just right for people because I don't want people to cower, and I want them to sit in there and pray and meditate, you know. And if we want to get it hot, you know, we'll go in with the old people. See if we can hang with our grandmas and our grandpas. You know, I was at that one day. I was over with Joker Bob and Grandma Weehaw. They're just in there liking it up. Gee, that's always just kind of looking around at everybody. They're just in there enjoying it. Everyone else was hiding. So like that, Grandma Betty and Joker Frank, you know, the same way when we go over there to their lodge, you know. Woo, it's getting hot. So if we can hang with our old people, then we'll be all right. And that's kind of what I wanted to hit on was that little thing when we come into that historical trauma, and that trauma, and then how we treat our younger generation when they're growing up, in the first 3 years of their life, especially when they have that hole in their head. Put a lot of things in there, and change is the hardest thing to do, but we could do it because I'm up here talking to you. Who would ever thought that? You know, I was a real good drunk, real good druggie. And then I've been to jail over 500 times. I kind of tell that to when I go talk with Terry. They have me down on federal paper. How many times you been in jail? Hey, how many times you been in jail? I said they got me down for 5 between Winnavegas, Pine Ridge, Rosebud, and then Lame Deer. But I only been to jail in American Society like one time. So to them, I'm good. With that, I want to say thank you for listening to me, and everyone have a good day, and we can do it through patience and time. All my relations.
Okay, relatives, say thank you to Nate. And then, like I said, Trav said, T, get up there and cut him off. I got to let him go, man. He's on a roll. And, I'm going to say this here before we take a little break before they set up for lunch. And like I said, if you're around me every day, I sound like a broken record. I'm saying the same things over and over, try to empower somebody, try to get in their head to change. Because I say it, our people, we see it every day. Somebody's walking around with a broken heart. And that heart shattered to pieces. A death, a separation. Their heart's broken, their spirit's broken, their souls start to wonder. And they give up. So to me, it's all about that spirituality, empowerment. I'll be talking about that tomorrow. Because we make choices in our life, and we're either going to wake up in bed or we're going to wake up in jail. And a lot of times, I swear to God, I get frustrated. I lose patience with people. And if you come into my office, there's a spirit mirror right there. It's a spirit mirror. Stare deep into your soul. Look into it. One time, one of my relatives, I want to mention her name. She's probably watching. She knows what I'm talking about. But, I love my children. I have nothing but love for them. But as mothers and fathers, we get frustrated with them. So they's in the mirror. They's getting ready for the day and putting their eyelashes on, makeup on, getting ready. Still kind of mumbling around, crying around about something. I took a time out. So look at Jackie, what are you doing? You're looking in that mirror. You look in that mirror. You look at yourself. Look good. Look inside yourself. And while you're looking at yourself, slap the hell out of yourself. Slap the hell out of yourself. Because, if you think about it, you have no one to blame but yourself, right? No one to blame but yourself. So it's all about how we see things, look at things. Right now, I'm the court administrator. And I'm not, but people, T's the big boss right now. Remember, I'm not the boss. What am I? Yeah. That was a test. You failed it. Days. No, I tell my people, I'm not the boss. I'm your coach. I'm the head coach. So as a coach, I want to try to empower you and put my arm around you. Let's make it better. I'm not going to say, okay, Jamie, I'm sorry. Shanae, I'm sorry. You're fired. You're done. Get out. Some people do that. To me, I'm saying, okay, you messed up. Come on, let's sit down. Let's talk about it. Let's pray about it. Let's sit down and do those kind of things. My wife, she smart, beyond smart. She said there's such things called as human capital investment. We invest in our people. We train them, spend time in them. We cultivate them. And then one time, you can do 1,000 good deeds. What happens? One time you're going to screw up. What's going to happen? You nail it to that cross. Guilty for whatever reason. So forgiveness is important. Spirituality is important. Having an open mind. But what I've seen today, I really liking it for you guys, loving it for you guys, because in order to learn anything, you have to do what? You got to listen. Don't just listen with your ears, with your eyes, with your heart, with your spirit. I'm going to cut myself off. I'm just starting to get in a roll. I'm getting in a roll, feel that spirit. So I'm going to cut myself off. You guys are going to take a break. They're setting up back there. And again, honor my Pima relatives. Chester, we usually take a half-hour lunch, but my Pima bros are here, so it's our lunch. And then before we eat, I'm going to call a brother up here, Chris Denny, to offer just a prayer over the food here before we excuse each other. So Chris, come up, honor us with prayer. It's going to be for this meal here. When you want to say something, go ahead. Caught him off guard. He's an OG, old guy.
I wanted to. My name is Chris Denny. I'm the little Scotty. I'm the domestic violence case manager for the Ponca Tribe of Nebraska, and my co-worker right over here, she's with the human trafficking. I'm grateful to be here this morning. Same my relative Lydia over here. Yes, I'm just like in a blank here, but I'll get it real quick here. I want to say Penny Gigi. to the chokas and the degas here to say this prayer. Chokas and degas and Penigigi for saying this prayer in my language. Oh, Tunkanshida. Tunkanshida. Pimiapalo Tunkanshida. Winnavegas Tunkanshida. Uminicheke Tunkanshida. Wuki Chozani Wakan Tunkanshida. The Pima Oyate, the Winnebago Oyate, the Tuahi Tioshpaes Tunkanshida, the ones that are in recovery Tunkanshida, Eche Wichasha, Chunka Duda Mani Wakan, Tunkanshida, Unshika, Eche Wichasha, Tunkanshida, Wuki Chozani Wakan, Tunkanshida, domestic violence Tunkanshida, Hokia and Hokaziha Shni Tunkanshida, Tunkanshida, Wuki Chozani Wakan, Tunkanshida, the Winnebago Tioshpae, the Oyate, Tiwaheke, Tunkanshida, Hokia and Hokaziha Shnido, Tunkanshida. Tunkanshida, Wowan, J. Kamaki, Echa Iwaku, Kakatako, Blutaki ka Oa Kikiti, Wachantaze, Makuya cha Blutaki ka Oa Kikiti, Nakwoksapa, Kimaki, Echa, Etokache, Loankite, Tunkanshila, Matako, see. That last prayer was for people in recovery. Thank you.
Yeah, relatives with that. Again, I don't want to mention no name, but some of you guys are shining out there, so we'll kind of wipe it out. I'm wiping my grease off right now. My daughter got online last night. We had the round dance going. I was going last night here. My daughter, Daddy, please wipe that grease off your forehead. I didn't know. I forgot we was on live on YouTube. All right, take a break. Ahoo.